Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DPS 7 Points podcast. I'm your co-host, Warren Trent, and my man next to me is Sergeant Kameron Lee.
Hey, thank you, everyone, for being here. We are coming at you from the DPS Heritage Museum. So they've been gracious enough to kind of provide this space so that we could do this podcast. I couldn't think of a better backdrop than what we have here. We've talked about that before, so thank you to our DPS Heritage folks. Today, we have a very special guest. Someone who I know personally.
Yes.
Chaplain Rick Derbyshire.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Rick.
Hey, it is my pleasure.
We appreciate you being here. The last 3 guests that we've had on, we're really diving into the EAP program, the wellness program, talking about how we're really trying to help our employees better their mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all of those different things. And this is where you, as chaplains, come into play. But before we kind of delve into the chaplaincy program, we just want to kind of get to know you, your background, your story, what led you here, and then how long you've been with the agency, and kind of go from there. So if you want to start.
Great. Awesome. Well, I'm originally from Southern California. I grew up in the Los Angeles area, and it was a great place to grow up, especially as a teenager. 45 minutes away from Disneyland, 30 minutes from the beach. It was just a great place to grow up. And I was very fortunate. I had a mom and a dad, and I had a sister. We just loved being there in Southern California. Part of kind of the shaping of my life is that both my mother and my sister were born with major heart defects. And so I kind of grew up in hospitals and waiting rooms and all that stuff. That somewhat kind of shaped part of my upbringing. But growing up in Southern California was a great place. From there, when I graduated from college, which is in Southern California, I went on to get my grad school in Denver, Colorado. And a funny story is the fact that I grew up a Los Angeles Rams fan.
Oh, okay.
Back when they were originally there.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Loved the Rams. I moved to Denver, and I had never seen a city so crazy about a sports team as the Denver Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
So I wound up becoming a Denver Bronco fan. And at that point, I switched over, and so now my whole family is Bronco fans. But anyway, so I grew up Southern California, went on to Colorado for grad school, got my Master of Divinity at a school called Denver Seminary. And from there, got married in between my first and second year of seminary.
Okay.
My wife's name is Sue. She is awesome. She's fun to watch. She's kind of a skit to watch because she talks with her hands. She's very animated and a lot of fun. And she's a nurse by profession. She actually works in cardiovascular research at Honor Health Hospital at the Shea campus.
Oh, wow. On
Shea and the 101. And so I get to enjoy having my own private duty nurse. It's kind of fun most of the time.
Right.
And then from seminary, graduated, and then from there went on to work in a church full time. As you know, chaplains are all volunteer, but I became a pastor and started off in a small church in a farming community in downstate Illinois. I mean, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
When I moved to Denver to do grad school, I thought Denver was a small town. And from there, moving to a little farming community called Mahomet, Illinois, a town of 1,500 people, surrounded by nothing but corn and soy bean fields.
Wow.
It was culture shock.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned was that the Midwest hospitality is a real thing. So we enjoyed that. We enjoyed our time there. From there, moved back to Colorado, and actually went on staff with my father-in-law's church. He was a pastor. And so worked with him for a few years. And from there, went on to another church in Washington State. And that was my last kind of as an associate pastor before becoming a lead pastor, a senior pastor up in Vancouver, British Columbia. So I have about 41 years of experience as a pastor.
Wow.
20 years as a lead pastor and then the balance is like an associate in some kind of a role. My last church that I retired from, I was on staff at that church. It was a very large church in the Denver area. And I first got involved in law enforcement in a church in the Los Angeles area. Got involved with Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. A good friend in my church, he was a LAPD officer. And at the time, his assignment was to do all the, I can't recall it, the road test, training drivers, defensive driving, and all of that. So he let me know that LA County Sheriffs were looking to start a new program. It wasn't a chaplain program. Back then, the chaplains with LA County Sheriffs only dealt with the sworn personnel or the employees of the department. They didn't help them with anything with the public. And so they wanted to start a program. They called it their volunteer clergy program. And they ran a whole academy for a whole bunch of us to help us learn about law enforcement. And then we would get called out when they had NOKs or major accidents involving the public. At the substation that I worked out of, which was the Crescenta Valley station near Pasadena, La Crescenta area, their chaplain didn't show up as much. And because I would show up and I'd do walkthroughs and they kind of got to know me, I got called out to all kinds of situations. So that was my introduction to law enforcement, was with LA County Sheriffs.
So at what point, or was there a moment or an aha moment that said, you know what, I think a career as a member of the clergy is for you?
Yeah, for me. So I really wrestled. Growing up, I wanted to go in the military. My dad had been in the Navy in World War II. My grandfather had been in World War I and won the silver medal over in Europe. So I had a lot of military background in our family. I wanted to go that direction. But while I was growing up in high school especially, I was mentored by a youth pastor and began to learn more of how I was wired. I began to learn some of the strengths and abilities that I had. And that began to make me question, so if God wired me this way, how could he best use me? And so then I began thinking, well, maybe ministry might be the thing. But I was still wrestling with wanting to go in the military. So I took a break between my sophomore and junior year of college and went to this Bible school over in, it was in Sweden, but it was all in English. And during that about 9-month period, it was like I was in an incubator. It just really grew and became focused. Before going to this experience, my grades, I was a late bloomer, late developer. I was probably a B, C student.
Okay.
I came back from that experience, and during that time, I really felt like God was calling me to prepare for ministry, vocational ministry. So I came back, and all of a sudden, I'm an A student with a few Bs. And because I now had focus. And so that's what really led me, that calling to prepare for vocational ministry as a pastor. And then later, God opened the door to become a chaplain.
That's awesome. You know, we kind of talked prior to this. There's a lot of misconceptions around the chaplaincy program and chaplains and kind of their purpose.
Yeah.
And, you know, and maybe that's the way it was. And I think we're trying to reestablish this. Well, you mentioned something about when you were with LA, how you were always there going walkthroughs and things like that. I've known you for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And I can attest that that is who you are, because you're very active and very proactive. At what point were you like, okay, I'm ready to retire from, you know, being a pastor and things like that, and then just, I think this chaplaincy thing is going to be for me, and that's a non-paid, right?
Yeah, correct.
It's all volunteer, so you're still dedicating a lot of time. What drives you to do that?
So, Cameron, that's a great question. For me, I feel called to this. For me, this is just as much of a call being a chaplain, a law enforcement chaplain, as being a pastor. And at this point in my life, I now have over 21 years experience working with law enforcement in this kind of a role. Like I said, I started with LA County Sheriff's, Colorado. I worked with 2 different departments there, local Littleton Police Department, and then Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And then coming here, when I retired from the pastoral ministry, I thought I was giving this part of my life up. And I'll be honest, I grieved this part more than I grieved being a pastor, because I love being involved in the community. And I met a guy who was a retired DPS trooper, and he's the one who kind of put me in touch with DPS. And so for me, being called to this role, there's part of that role is to help with NOKs and help in some of those situations like that. But for me, I feel the important piece is spending time with the troopers, with the department employees, just being around. And it's like I'm not stalking people. What I'm trying to do, though, is I'm trying to get time where they can get to know me and I can get to know them, so that when there's some kind of a crisis or there's some kind of emergency or they're going through something, whether it's personal or work-related, and they just need somebody to talk to, there's already a relationship that's built. And that's really important to me. I mean, I'll be honest, I do get a bit angry. I could couch it and say, yeah, a little perturbed. But no, I actually at times get angry when I see people that simply want to wear the title of chaplain, but not put the work in to develop the relationships so they can do the job when it's needed. And so for me, part of the role is to be able to provide, like in chaplaincy, we talk about it as a ministry of presence, and being able to be present with the troopers, present with the both sworn and non-sworn employees, where they get to know you so that you can be an emotional support for them, or you can be a practical support. Like one of the things that we can do when we're on ride-alongs is that, we're trained in the use of the radio. We're trained in the use of all the blood stopping medical stuff, so that if we're needed, we can help the trooper. We could help a citizen that may be bleeding out because of an accident. There's different things that we could do in a practical way to help. And then there's a spiritual part. But for us, we need to be invited into that part. Like, we don't bring up spiritual things unless the trooper or employee asks questions and wants to bring it up. Then we're free to be able to talk about that.
Chaplains come from all different backgrounds.
Oh, all kinds of backgrounds.
All different denominations or even non-denominational, right?
Yes.
You don't have to have or be a part of a certain denomination to be a chaplain.
Yeah, and that's true. And chaplains are trained to be able to serve and minister to people no matter what their background is. And if we're not the right person to help them, part of our job is find somebody that can help them, whether it's their own pastor or priest, rabbi, or whoever it might be, or find somebody that can help them. So that's where we can be a resource to that individual. And I enjoy that. I love being able to serve in this capacity.
Yeah,
that's great. Listen, when we were talking, you and I came in new orientation together and everything like that, and I have always appreciated the fact that you and I hit it off from day one. So now whenever I see you, it's not every day, of course, but there's always a handshake or a hug from you. And, hey, you're always checking in and saying, hey, how's Warren? How you doing? You're always checking in. I just want to let people know that I always appreciate that about you.
You're welcome. It really is a privilege. And I mean, you guys make it easy. For the most part, you do. You make it easy.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, for the most part. That's true.
Because as you know, in law enforcement, there's that blue wall, and it's a challenge to get through that blue wall.
Yeah.
And part of the way that I'm wired is I enjoy that challenge of earning trust. So,
and you do that very well. When I first met you, I was the supervisor of our Beeline squad, and Chaplain came by and introduced himself, and then just popped in, and we'd slowly introduce him to the other troopers, and then a ride along, and and you're so right when it comes to the personal relationship and building that trust foundation, and that they will come to you. And I think you've seen that with the troopers that you have built that relationship with, is they're willing to sit down and just have a conversation. And one of the things I love about you is your proactivity in coming to me, be like, how are you doing? How's everything? I know you just had this. How are you? How is your squad? How is this trooper? How is that trooper? And that means everything, because again, that means somebody else is watching and from the outside in, and I feel like, hey, they're thinking about us. They're wanting to take care of us.
And I think that's important for you to know that you matter, and what you do matters, and that there are people that care. And that's one of the things about chaplaincies, is that one of the requirements to be a good chaplain is the ability to listen, and at times ask appropriate questions.
Right.
And then the other side of that is being able to hold confidentiality. And early on, I learned, working with law enforcement, is that you'll be tested. I had a guy one time share something with me, and then he waited for like 6 months in a smaller department to find out if what he told me was going to come around through the grapevine, if I would break that confidence.
Wow.
So that's one of the things that we've got to be able to do, is be able to hold confidence. And a lot of times what people don't understand is when you talk to a chaplain, it's not just confidential. It's not just that. It's even higher. It's something called privileged information when you talk to a chaplain. So you don't have to worry about the fact that we're going to go to your supervisor or somebody else. We're gonna keep that, private, with a few caveats. I mean, there's a few things. If they're going to harm themselves or they're going to harm somebody else, we have to deal with that appropriately.
So, I've been in this career about 17 years. And when I started, for the most part, you call the chaplain to come out, and especially during a fatality, to help with that NOK, to that next of kin notification, to be there to help comfort the family, to help the troopers maybe find the words to say too, because we're may not always be the best at it. But I've seen this shift to where when we have something serious, and you and I experienced this together, where we have kind of a traumatic scene, you come to the scene to support us at the scene, and then also maybe fulfill another responsibility of helping go make that NOK. But here's the question for you. What do you do? Because you're there, you've seen some of the things that we've seen. That affects you too, and I know it does. We've talked about it. So what are some of the things that you do to try and...
I want to know that too.
Great question. So I'm an introvert at my core. I can act as an extrovert. I score on personality inventories as an extrovert, but at my core, I'm an introvert. So I'll hold things in. But one of the things that I've learned over the years, hopefully as I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit wiser, is I need to talk. And so there's people that I've learned that I can trust, that I can open up to and be vulnerable to. And so I choose to do that. There's a few people here in the department, troopers, because you understand when you go to a really bad scene. And this has been a learning experience to me, because what you see with local PD and county sheriffs is different than some of these high-speed accidents on these freeways. So I've identified there's a few troopers that I can trust, and you're one of those. And I also go to chaplains, even though I've been a pastor for all these years. Pastors don't always understand this world. In fact, most don't. And so finding other people that are trained and have experience also as chaplains, they get what we're experiencing, and know how to listen and just ask the right questions. And that's what I do.
And we do have quite a few chaplains that are retired law enforcement in some capacity, quite a few. So to your point, you know, they're coming from both sides, and that's amazing. So I'm seeing this, I don't know if it's expanding or maybe just you guys are being so much more proactive. I'm seeing chaplains used so much more. Do we need more chaplains? Are we seeking for more?
Yes, we are. We really do need more chaplains, and we need, and they can come from the law enforcement side. They had a career in law enforcement, and now they want to continue to serve. They can come from the clergy side. One of our chaplains, Sandy Voris, and she was never a pastor, but she went on to seminary. She started off with the department as in the honor guard. She is still in part of the honor guard as a bagpiper. And she's now one of our chaplains and are very active. In fact, she's one of our 4 lead chaplains.
That's awesome.
And she does a phenomenal job. And she has this unique way of coming in because everybody's different.
Sure.
But she comes in and she'll come in like when she goes to see the motors, she'll bring them goodies, baked goodies.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's a great thing. But we need more chaplains. Well, our goal is to try and get at least 1 chaplain in every single district, so that we're not spread so far.
Right.
Because some of us, especially here in the metro area, it's a busy area, and we get sent all over the place.
Yeah.
So is someone calling you or calling your team that, hey, we need you out here, or do you just go, or how does that work?
Yeah. So one of the things that's really important for us is we don't self-deploy. If we hear something, we don't just go self-deploy. Normally what happens is a trooper, a sergeant, or whoever is the on-scene commander at an accident scene will say, hey, you know, this is a situation we would love to have a chaplain. So they'll call, contact either OPCOM or the duty office, request a chaplain. Duty office would then call us, and we now have where we have 4 lead chaplains for the department. Rich Ritchie is our overall chaplain lead, and he's up in Payson, and he oversees northern Arizona as well. We have a lead chaplain down in the southern area, Robert Colcup. We have Sandy, who is now a lead chaplain for West Metro, and then I'm lead chaplain for the East Metro. So they'll call one of the leads and request a chaplain, and we'll see whoever's available or nearest, and then we'll respond that way.
Well, we're a state agency, so you guys go anywhere in the state.
Oh, we do, yeah. It's been fun. I mean, it's been fun seeing more of the state that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been down to Tucson. I've been up to Kingman several times now. My first call out to help with an NOK, I was only with the department for a few months. And I live all the way out in Fountain Hills, far East Valley, Northeast Valley. And that call out was at 2 a.m. to out past Tonopah. So it was a jaunt to get out there. But we're willing to go wherever we're needed and help in any way we can. And that's really important to us because all of you are important to us.
I love that. So what would your message be to a sergeant or a captain on scene as far as when they should request a chaplain? And again, because you can provide multiple services.
Yes, we can.
And I guess my suggestion would be, let's call them sooner than later. Let's get them to the scene. Yeah. Let's have them help us here, and then we can go there. But what is your message?
Yeah, we would appreciate to get the call earlier than later. That would help us as well. But I would say call us early, even if there's a potential of needing a chaplain. Let us know. But for instance, one of the things that we got called out in Colorado with one of the departments that I worked with, the county sheriffs, is when SWAT team went out, we also got called. And either we would go out there, or when when they would come back after the call and they're waiting all the after action reports and all of that stuff, we were there to be with them, and we'd bring them food, we'd bring them stuff to drink, and just be there just to help them kind of unwind. Not to say, what happened? But, just check, how are they doing? And even just ask them questions to keep their mind off maybe what they just experienced.
Yeah.
So even being called in some of those situations, we can help with that.
Yeah.
And, but I think give us a chance. And I've told a number of sergeants and troopers this: give us a chance to help, because a lot of times troopers and other, it doesn't matter the agency, most law enforcement look at chaplains initially as just, we'll call you out if there's been a death or something really bad's happened.
Right.
And yeah, we will help with that, but call us whenever you think that there's a need. Maybe just somebody needs somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Just, we're there to help, and we're trained. The department requires all of us as chaplains to have a certain basic level of training. So we all have at least a basic level of working specifically with law enforcement. And a number of us are also fully trained as peer support and all of that. And we can help with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And for us, this is what we're called to do.
Yeah.
And so we love being able to help.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, again, I'm grateful for our relationship. We've had some awesome talks in my office, and you've been able to experience the road with some troopers that I supervised. If I'm somebody that's retired and I feel like, hey, I want to be a part of something, I want to do more, I want to volunteer some time, could you tell us the best way to go about maybe looking into the chaplaincy program?
You can contact Misty Van Tassel. She's works with EAP, and she's over the chaplain program. Rich Ritchie, he's our overall chaplain lead. Or just talk to any of the chaplains and just say, hey, I'm interested in, maybe I'm retired or I'm getting ready to retire. I'd love to do that. In fact, the guy that replaced me as a lead chaplain at Jefferson County Sheriff's Office was a sheriff's deputy who was getting ready to retire. And he had enough background and training that it worked really well.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to have those that have already been experienced from the law enforcement side, because your learning curve is going to be a lot quicker.
That rapport is almost built in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So.
The rapport is going to be there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Rick, thank you for being here.
Yep.
Warren, do you have any final comments?
Listen,
anything?
you are always welcome to my office for a handshake, hug, and maybe a bottle of water.
Thank you. I love that. Yeah, great.
Yeah, anytime.
No, really. But for all of you watching and listening to the 7 Points podcast, hey, come on down to the Heritage Museum, ahpdpsmuseum.org. It's a lot of cool stuff here, a lot of cool artifacts. So come on down and check us out. And thank you for tuning in to the 7 Points podcast.
Have a good day.